asked ChatGPT to build me the perfect AI generated deck, and this is what happened. Explosion. What's going on, everybody? Hey, don't forget, we still got Dominaria Remastered to give away. All you gotta do is be subscribed to this channel and put nerd into the comments down below. N-E-R-D, nerd. I went to the artificial intelligence on the internet and I asked it a series of questions. Laser eyes. You know what I mean? It is cold-hearted. All right, and of course, it picked Atraxa. Like, come on, ChatGPT. Atraxa? Really? Atraxa? Anyone can build Atraxa. And if you can't build Atraxa, keep watching my videos. I will show you how to build Atraxa. I will show you how to build decks way better than Atraxa, way more complicated than Atraxa. Stick with me. Me and you, we can do this together. But without further ado, let's get into the deck tech. Cool effect. Our commander is Atraxa, Praetor's Voice. She is a legendary angel horror costing a green, a white, a blue, and a black. She has flying, vigilance, death touch, and lifelink. But the main thing that ChatGPT focused in on is her bottom ability. At the beginning of your instep, proliferate. Well, what's proliferate do? Man, that is a great question. I'm glad you asked. Proliferate lets you choose any number of permanents and or players, then give each another counter of each kind already there. And something I really like about proliferate is it doesn't just have to be the counters on your permanents. So if you're in a position where you and your opponents have an arch enemy, one person who's way ahead of everybody else, you can start buffing their creatures and their planeswalkers in exchange for favors. Very political. Yes, yes, yes. Or if they have -1/-1 counters on their creatures or poison counters, you can also proliferate those. But let's get into the real question. Can artificial intelligence actually build a competent commander deck? The first hurdle with Atraxa is that she has 4 different colors. So let's get into the ramp. Ramp it up. First off, ChatGPT was nice enough to give us Cultivate and Kodama's Reach, which not only do they ramp us, but they also give us 2 different basic land types. And that's huge when it comes to mana fixing. Huge! And more mana fixing comes in the form of Chromatic Lantern, Commander's Sphere, and Darksteel Ignite. That's Ignite. It also gave us Soul Ring and Mana Crypt, which is great, but by far the best ramp in this deck is Astral Cornucopia and Ever-Flowing Chalice. Thanks, ChatGPT. Indeed. I mean, I was really impressed with the amount of ramp that AI put in here. It wasn't too much and it wasn't too little. Great job. So the ramp's good, but what about the card draw? Let's draw some cards. Jace, Unraveler of Secrets, and Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, both draw us cards on the way to some brutal ultimates. Brutal. ChatGPT was also smart enough to give us staples like Rhystic Study and synergy pieces like Steady Progress. But the gift that keeps on giving in the MVC of this deck, MVC, most valuable card, it's Fathom Mage. This bottom ability says whenever a 1/1 counter is put on Fathom Mage, you draw a card. The evolve on it alone is going to give you a couple of cards, but there are so many cards in this deck, including our commander, that's going to put 1/1 counters on it. That means with her and your commander out, at the beginning of your instep, you're just drawing an extra card. And the first time I played this deck, I got Spike Feeder out. I was just able to pay 2 mana whenever I wanted to draw a card. That's real nice. Yeah, it is nice. It's also a nice transition to get us in to our value. Once again, AI was smart enough to give us some staples. Doubling Season and Hardened Scales are excellent in this deck. I would say for 1 mana, Hardened Scales way outperforms Doubling Season in this deck. Not a ton of tokens. Disembodied Voice, you are exactly right. There aren't a ton of tokens in this deck, and that's how you know that I didn't build it. Deep Glow Skate also puts in some work. Doubling every kind of counter is another easy way to get those ultimates off on your planeswalkers. But I think my favorite value piece is Inexorable Tide. Whenever you cast a spell, proliferate. Wow. I mean, this is a real easy way to just chain off into some crazy turns. Alright, so AI can give us some value. But can it close out a game? All right, ChatGPT, what's our win con?
Win con.
Well, for starts, it gave us Cathar's Crusade and Vorel of the Hullclade. Not only does this little combo make it really easy for us to kill somebody with our commander, but we can one-shot somebody with something like Birds of Paradise. Walking Ballista and Gave can also help us with this overrun strategy, but I think what ChatGPT really wants us to do is hit those ultimates with our Planeswalkers. Not only did ChatGPT put in a ton of board wipes, but it gave us Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. When you get that emblem with whenever you draw a card, exile target permanent an opponent controls on the board, people can't mess with an emblem. It says target permanent. And we draw tons of cards in this deck, so we can remove all of our opponent's lands if we want to. This deck locks people down until you get your value engine going, and you dominate them however you want. So can ChatGPT, can artificial intelligence build a competent deck? Yeah, I think it can. Even though this deck is strong, be warned, it's very oppressive. I'll probably never play this deck again. I'm probably going to put it up on my shelf just so I can point to it and say, hey, look, I had the computer build me a deck a long time ago. And hey, if you want to lose all your friends, go ahead and go down to my Mox field, copy this deck, put it to paper, and let me know how it plays in your playgroup or at your local gaming store. I don't think it's very far away before ChatGPT or any AI is going to be able to build you a perfect deck to your play style. But until that day comes, keep watching Nerd Lab, keep commenting down below, let me know what decks you want me to build next. And until next time, like, subscribe, but most importantly, embrace the chaos.